Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
You're listening to the podcast, So There I Was. This is episode 193. Ready? Sleep now. Just Fig and me this week, and it's just me for the intro as we couldn't make our schedules align earlier this week. I want to start by saying a huge thanks to Aircav Chris for stepping up as a tanker aircraft commander level supporter by donating over $200 over at sothereiwas.us/donate. Support from folks like you keep these stories flowing and the show airborne. We're humbled by your lack of financial responsibility and your generosity, Chris. Thank you. This episode is also brought to you by two great sponsors. First up is Anti-Gravity. The Anti-Gravity A1 is the ultimate way to experience flying a drone with confidence. Head to sothereiwas.us/anti-gravity, and when you buy using that link, you'll get a free landing pad just for using that link. And it's a great way to support the show while upgrading your drone flying experience. We're also sponsored by Masterclass, where you can learn from more than 200 courses taught by true experts in their fields. Everyone from leaders and chefs and writers and athletes. Get up to 50% off your subscription by going to masterclass.com/sothereiwas and start sharpening your skills today. In this week's episode, it's just Fig and me. RePete. We dig into what it's really like strapping on a high-performance jet and living the squadron life, including the pressure, the camaraderie, and the sheer thrill of it all. We get into some unforgettable close calls and mishaps that will have you on the edge of your seat. And we talk about the training, the discipline, and the mindset that make the difference when things don't exactly go as planned. So strap in, make sure you're not sitting on the ejection seat handle, because this one is packed with stories you don't want to miss.
This here is a true story about crossing the pond at night in the world's smallest cockpit, on the tanker, through the weather. Oh, and to the tanker crew who did that, thanks a lot. We really appreciated that. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. Well, there I was, crossing the pond, and you could see that.
So there I was, rolling down the runway, hit V1. I called V1. I had my finger on the stick so I could feel when the FO moved it. Nothing happened. I said V1. I said rotate. Nothing happened. I said rotate a little louder. And then finally, when the two board goes by, I said rotate. And I was looking right at the first officer. And she looked at me with an expression like this.
What are you talking about? What you talking about, Willis?
That's my so there I was opener.
That's not good.
No.
What do you have to wait for the passengers to start screaming to pull? For God's sake, come on, man.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
It is
Happy
terrifying.
New Year, Fig.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, it's New Year's Eve. We're recording this, but it's going to be January 8th by the time everybody gets to put their ears on this. So we're thrilled that you're listening to us. And just the two of us tonight, we didn't put the word out to anybody. And Badass and Dizzy still managed to show up, and it looks like someone else may have as well. I can't tell who off the top of my head, but glad that you all are here. Hey, quick note, Fig, we've got a couple sponsors this week. We've got Anti-Gravity with their new A1 full 360 8K surround video. It's like you're flying in the damn drone. Well, you just look anywhere you want. And
so it's a drone. It's a drone.
It's a drone, but you're wearing goggles, and wherever you turn your head, it's like flying the F-35. Wherever you look, that's where you see. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty badass.
Yeah. And then, of course, the fine folks over at Masterclass continue to support us, and we're deeply grateful to them. Masterclass.com/sothereiwas for up to 50% off on a subscription for yourself or a great gift. Did you forget somebody this year? It's a great gift idea. Think about it. Anyway, we got an email too. Dr. David Lilienstein wrote in about our I assume it was about our last guest because we did 2 shows with Heater, and he talked to us about a incongruity in the show that I never caught, Fig, and it was cool.
I didn't catch it.
No,
I didn't catch that either. I caught something else, but not that.
Yeah, so it's in the scene where they're on the carrier, and the CAG is standing there, and he's talking about where the MiGs are and all that happy shit, and he's got his khakis on. Is what the Navy calls them. And in one part of the scene, he's got all his medals and ribbons on his chest underneath his wings, and oh, by the way, the medals are not in any appropriate sequence. He might have had the Medal of Honor and a Good Conduct Medal, all that kind of stuff. Sure. No telling whatever they put on there. And then they cut away, and then they cut back to him, and all the medals are gone. He's just got his khaki shirt with his wings. So
we're getting in the way.
Yeah, right? Get these damn things off of my chest.
He was wearing a different kind of shirt too, right?
Right?
Like 5 seconds later?
Yeah.
Or a split second later when the camera hit him again?
There's that. And it's Brent Daniels. That's the other one joining us.
Hey,
welcome,
Brent. Welcome
That's
aboard,
the young Marine
buddy.
who pulled Obi from the jet back in Camp Lejeune in the early 90s. So welcome, Marine. Thank you.
Welcome. What would that have been? That'd been 1993.
About 93, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Maybe 94. I think it was 93. Yeah.
I think it was 93.
So it was a Lyman Road crash that the young Marine pilot went off the road and the airplane caught on fire. And Brent Daniels was the Marine who crawled up on the burning jet, smoldering jet at this point, and yanked Obi out. So,
fact.
Yeah. So I still remember this one real quickly. Another sidetrack. Obi talking about how he thought he was going to burn to death, and then he realized he wasn't. He was going to suffocate. Because they hit him with the firefighting foam, which does what? Takes all the oxygen.
Takes oxygen out. Yeah.
All of it gone now. So.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Fire. So what was the one you found? The incongruity.
Sunglasses. Viper and Jester were having a conversation standing on the ramp. And I think it was after, Goose died and Maverick was having trouble, taking the shot, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. I
think he was they were standing on the ramp, and the guys were walking to the jets, and they were talking about Maverick and his issues. And in the conversation, it's on him, it's on Viper, and then they pan to Jester. When they go back to Viper, he's wearing a different kind of sunglasses. It's not even.
He was tired of the old ones. Maybe Sunglass Hut sponsored the movie. I don't know.
Oops.
So, yeah.
A lot of Ray-Bans.
So Brent Daniels tells me September 93.
There you go.
Backing up, jumping all over the place here.
Yeah. Shit.
Couple different things we wanted to talk about, though. I've got some thoughts on the Air India 787 crash a few months back. Yeah.
Let's.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first, let's for maybe somebody that's just tuning in and really doesn't know what we're talking about. It was the 787 that right after takeoff
out of Mumbai, right? Or was it Delhi? It was Mumbai, I think.
Right after takeoff, got to 500 or 600 feet, and then crashed straight ahead into the city.
Yep, power failure.
So everybody was speculating what the hell happened, and we know more things now.
One guy literally walked out of the crash, walked away from it.
In the tail section. He's the guy that's unbreakable. He's the unbreakable guy.
Yeah, by the exit, emergency exit row. But yeah. So how does a modern jetliner lose power to both engines slightly after rotation? And
right.
This is the final report isn't out yet, but having flown a couple Boeings in my time and a couple McDonnell Douglas airplanes in my time, I am of the opinion, strictly my opinion, that this was a murder-suicide.
And what would you have to support that?
Well, when's the last time you were able to knock a fuel cutoff switch either into the on position or off position?
Knock it? It doesn't happen.
Knock it? No, it doesn't happen. And then to have both of them? Yeah. I mean, if you were able to even hit it, if you hit that thing with a hammer, I don't think it's going to go to the off position. You have to pull up on the switch against a pretty firm spring tension.
Yeah.
And then lift it over a detent and put it in the down position. And for
it's an over center switch. You have to pull it, move it, and then let it back in.
And let it go. Yeah.
You can't just knock it. No,
and for both of those, and by the way, there's a metal guard too, so that something couldn't accidentally get under them, like a bar or a lever of any kind. You have to grab it with your hand.
Right.
And then the voice recorder ostensibly has first officer going, "Why'd you turn off the
what'd you
levers?"
do? Was it the first officer or was it captain?
First officer asked the captain why he turned it off. Captain calmly said, "Oh, I didn't turn it off." So,
see, I knew that was that had the conversation. I heard that conversation had taken place, but I didn't know who said it.
And again, it comes back to, I suppose the person who turned him off could ask the other guy why he turned him off. That anything's possible there. We'll never know, right? But I am thoroughly convinced that was not an accident. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, and I think one of the things that came to mind when I heard it was both engines they'd lost power in both engines. I thought fuel contamination.
Sure. Absolutely.
Fuel contamination. But I mean, why then? Why then? Yeah.
Why both engines at the same time? And why no other airplanes at the airport had any fuel issues?
Right. So I kind of poo-pooed that idea.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's a tough one, right? And pilot mental fitness. They had the guy who was he an Alaska pilot? I don't want to cast any asparagus on anybody, but I think he was an Alaska pilot on the Horizon airplane jump seating last year, maybe 2 years ago now, and he tried to shut off the airplane engines in flight. And they wrestled him out of the cockpit, and he just got, I think, time served. But I just went down a rabbit hole that neither one of us prepared for, so that we're clear on that. But the guy, I think what I read was he admitted to have taken mushrooms or something like that, and he was having
out of his mind,
out of body, out of mind episode. Yeah. So needless to say, pilot mental fitness is a big issue these days that they are looking at hard. And, the fact remains that it's just, this is not a big problem. This is two guys out of how many hundreds of millions of flight hours. In the big scheme of things, we look after each other. We take care of each other. When someone's having an issue, you speak up and you help each other out. So,
boy, oh boy, you just opened a can of worms there, and I'm debating on whether or not to open my mouth regarding mental issues.
It's touchy, right? The airlines are having struggles with it. The FAA is having struggles with it, and we as pilots have struggles with helping our fellow pilots reach out for help.
Like how do you help a fellow pilot who wants to dress as the other sex?
Well, there's that.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right?
That's some serious mental problems, and we have pilots at all the airlines that are doing just that.
And in fact, did Jedi tell us that story live? He wrote about it in his Substack. I don't think he told us the story when we recorded with him, but if you go and read Jedi's Substack, that's Roger Blair Johnson in the Substack. He has an episode all about that. It was apparently the guy was a total knockout. He was a dolly. So
hold on now.
But here's the thing: wasn't gay, wasn't trans, liked to dress up. Like, okay, now what are you going to do? Hey, you need to sit at attention, Fig. I just noticed First Sergeant Crouch in the room.
Yep.
Happy New Year, First Sergeant.
Happy New Year, Marine.
Yeah. So.
Okay, wow, we went way off there.
That was a rabbit hole we did not need to go down, brother. Welcome to the show.
Hey, welcome everybody. Well, okay. All right.
All
So that
right.
was so the Air India crash. That was early spring.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
2025.
I want to say the first half of 2025.
All right.
So.
And then so UPS was in November. The UPS crash in
Yeah,
Louisville?
that was soul crushing to watch that. The MD-11. We
God.
talked about that on a previous episode, and I was wrong. I thought it was the number 3 engine that got fought by the number 1 engine that departed, the left engine departing. But there's still shots of the number 1 engine going up and over the top of the fuselage, with clearly sending parts down the number 2, leaving those guys high and dry with no way to survive.
Yep. How about this? Any time in the last year that you can remember where you and I had to stop and like compose ourselves after one of our guests delivered something that neither one of us saw coming? Did anything just pop in your mind? Because I have one.
Well, the first one that popped into my mind was more than a year ago, but it was episode 60. I want to say 64. You're going to have to talk me out.
Oh,
was
shit.
one
I know.
Talking about wanting to go into the priesthood and then getting taken to a brothel in Germany and going, oh, I ain't doing that. I'm not going to priesthood. This is too much fun.
Yeah. Well, the Lord works in mysterious ways. We've been told.
I'm like, he's not going there. He's not going. He's going there, brother.
Yeah, he went there. Yeah.
He went there. Yeah. How about you?
Well, what's popping in my mind is Cobra 3-1. His so there I was story. He set it up really well, and I was there, and then he said, I heard the unmistakable sound of rounds hitting the airframe, and then I saw body parts all over the canopy, and I thought, well, that's not good.
Yeah.
And then I realized those were my body parts, and I'm like, oh fuck, I didn't see that coming.
No.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. Well, I had another one that was there, and then it slipped away from me. Oh, yeah, that's what it was. It was Jedi talking about the captain pulling out the radar, trying to fix it, and then getting it stuck halfway back in where they couldn't push the throttles up to maintain level flight if they needed to. So the guy proceeds to beat the crap out of the radar scope with the crash axe.
Hey, emergency authority, right?
But the write-up was gold.
Oh, yeah. Radar broke.
Radar and up.
Radar it up.
Yeah, 2 words. They were not inaccurate words. Oh, wow. Oh, man. Yeah. Hey, some other things that came up that I was, started looking at and talking about. What can we talk about this week? Because it's clear to everybody by now that you're stuck with us. There's no guest this week. Just Fig and RePete. Shooting the breeze a little bit. So you have a show, and something that came to mind was some bad leadership moments.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I'll start off with one, and I bet one pops into your mind before.
Well, I have one. I don't know if we should talk about it, but
well, okay. Well, mine. I'll go with mine, and I was a first officer on the MD-11, and had a check ride from hell, and of course it's the captain's check ride, but they check you as a crew. But this guy decided that he was going to go from the West Coast to the middle of the continent playing Stump the Dummy. How many rivets on the leading edge of the outboard slat? Can that kind of crap. And you're just going, nobody cares.
Yeah, this is fun.
So it was miserable. He was a total tool the entire flight. And I got away from it, and I was happy to be done with it. And about 2 or 3 months later, I found myself flying to London and back with him. We got to London. Things were fine. Got to the airplane to come home, and somebody had forgotten to order his catering, which you get to do on long international flights at my airline. Well, he was pissed. There was no food for him. I mean, there were snack trays and stuff, but there was no meal. And so he goes, it's my job as the first officer to find something wrong with to pre-flight the airplane. And he tells me, find something wrong with this airplane so we can delay the flight till I get catering. I couldn't find a thing wrong with that airplane. It was pristine.
Weird. Isn't that
Right.
something?
Not a
Now-
thing.
You did trigger a question, and maybe it was implied, and I'm just not. I've had a long day already, so maybe I'm just not picking up on it. But however, was it the captain's responsibility to order the catering?
Yeah, it was each pilot's responsibility to order their own catering.
Oh,
Is the way it works. If you're going on a long international flight, you order what you want. And if you don't order anything, they're supposed to put something on. And for whatever reason, they didn't put anything on for this guy. And he was pissed. So, yeah. So,
wow. Okay. Our favorite Marine DI just put a
he's
little
got a
something on
question.
each other. Have you ever had a dream of an aircraft disaster or an accident? And then he tells his story.
Yep.
I did. I have, but it's kind of a long story, and I don't know if I want to go all the way into the details. But one of our peers was in VMA 214, and he died in a Harrier leaving an air show in Davenport, Iowa.
Yep.
J.J. Smith, and we were in Iwakuni when it happened. We replaced them in Iwakuni
Right.
a month or two prior to this happened. I think it happened on July 4th weekend. Well, anyway, I was pretty close with JJ, and I started having these dreams. And in the dream, I come home to a house that I've never been to before, but it's my house, and there's a house party going on. It's full of people in a party. It's nighttime. And so I'm working my way through this crowd, and I get to the back of the house where the kitchen is. And once again, it's a house I've never been in, but it was my house, the house I was living in. And there was a knock at the back door, and I opened the door, and J.J. Smith is standing there, smoldering. He isn't burnt, but he's just kind of, it looks like he's got ash on him, black soot. Looks like he's got soot. And this overwhelming smell of, kerosene. I was smelling it. And he says to me in the dream, "Can you smell it?" And then I wake up, and I'd be wringing wet with sweat. And I had this dream a shit ton, but that's his comment there triggered that.
Wow. That is, yeah.
Yeah. Now to tie the bow on this,
Yeah.
Later in life, that dream I would have, it was very frequent in the beginning. And then towards late, before I had this thing I'm going to tell you, it maybe once a month I'd have it. But it was always the same. I'd wake up sweating and everything. Well, years later, my first marriage came to ended up in a smoking hole, and I needed to talk to somebody because I wasn't really dealing with it very well. And in this process of getting straight, this story came up. And the lady that I was talking to, she got real serious on me, man. She goes, "Listen, the next time you have this dream, you've got to tell him he's dead. He needs to move on. Do you understand what I'm saying?" I'm like, "What?" She goes, "Yes, tell him he's dead. When you open that door, you say, 'JJ, you're dead. You've got to go. Move on.'" And I'm like, "Okay." Guess what? Never had the dream again. I don't know if I had it and told him that or that was it, but never had the dream again. Ever.
Maybe he was listening in on your sessions.
I know, right?
Crap. Oh, wow. Oh, dude, that freaks me out. Yeah. That sent a chill up my back. I'm not sure I would have kept flying if I'd have had that dream. There's one or two guys, I knew saw the white buffalo, as they say.
Yeah.
But
great white buffalo.
That great white buffalo. I'll respect those guys who saw that and said, "You know what? I'm done. That's enough for me." And won't mention his name, but I do know a guy who did. He had a near-death experience in a T-34, and then one of his best friends died in a Harrier crash, and he's like, "I'm done."
Great white buffalo.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, I'm gonna give you my because it's the first thing that came to mind when you said, poor leadership.
Poor leadership moments. All right.
Example of moment. I'm not going to say the name, but I can tell you this, and you're going to know exactly who I'm talking about. This individual, who commanding officer of a squadron at the time, walks in and says, I don't want pilot A to fly low levels anymore. Well, did they do something wrong? Is something? Nope. I just got a bad feeling about it. I don't want to fly low levels anymore, and then walk out.
I know exactly who you're talking about. And he screwed with more guys' careers.
Yes. It just got worse and worse as time went on. As the deployment got longer, it got worse.
Yeah.
And so I made the mistake one day of saying, when he came in and put more restrictions on people, I said, hey, Skipper, why don't we put all the airplanes in the hangar and call it a day? Nobody's going to have to fly at all. Yeah, that got me a little counseling.
Didn't go
session.
well for you, Fig?
It did not go well at all.
Oh, man. Well, I had one other brief encounter with poor leadership. Actually, well, this one wasn't mine, but it's a friend of mine who unexpectedly, he got an aggressive form of prostate cancer and checked out within about 18 months of finding out he had it, which is, the slowest growing cancer there is, right?
Sure, it is.
Yeah. And until you want to live through it, in which case it got him. But I'm going to give that real quickly as a tease, and I'm going to.
All right. This sounds familiar. That's because it should. I've talked about anti-gravity a few times now, and that's intentional. Some tech deserves more than one and done mention, because the anti-gravity A1 isn't just another drone. It's a completely different way of experiencing flight. This is the world's first all-in-one 8K 360 drone, and instead of piloting a camera from the outside, you're actually inside the flight. You put on the vision goggles, and suddenly you're not watching a feed, you're looking around the sky in real time. Turn your head, explore the scene, feel like you're actually there, like you're actually flying. That immersive part never stops being cool. What really sets the A1 apart is how intuitive it is. Anti-gravity's free motion control mode lets you fly by pointing where you want to go. No memorizing controls, no steep learning curve, just point and fly. It makes flight feel natural instead of technical, which is why it works for beginners and stays interesting for people who care about how things work. And creatively, this thing is ridiculous in a good way. The A1 records 8K 360 video, which means you don't have to stress about framing while you're airborne. You fly first, frame later. One flight captures everything, and then you decide what the shot should be afterward. Missed an angle? Just reframe it. Want a totally different perspective? It's already there. One flight fuels endless edits. The drone even disappears from its own footage thanks to smart lens placement and advanced 360 stitching. No arms, no props, no distractions. It's just clean cinematic shots that look like they shouldn't be possible. And with features like SkyPath, you can design a flight route once and let the drone fly it autonomously, and even hand the goggles to someone else to experience the ride. It turns flying into something you can actually share. So yeah, if you've heard me mention anti-gravity before, this is your nudge. Go and look. This is one of those products that genuinely creates a new category. The anti-gravity A1 is the world's first 8K 360 drone, and it's a true game changer. Full immersive flight, insanely intuitive controls, and total creative freedom in editing. Head to sothereiwas.us/antigravity to check it out. That link gets you the anti-gravity A1 and a free landing pad with your order. Again, that's sothereiwas.us/antigravity. Grab the drone and get the free landing pad while you're at it. And thanks to Anti-Gravity for sponsoring this episode.
Yeah, it's great stuff there. I got to get me one of those.
Well, so now I'm kind of screwed. I'm going to have one.
Yeah, right? I mean, they are amazing. It's like flying in an F-35, see? Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. So I promised another bad leadership story. And we had this gent, again, I won't name his name, though he's long since retired. But he was not a fan of relief pilots. And the rules are you're allowed to sit in the seat 8 hours a day. If your flight's going to be longer than 8 hours, you have a relief pilot. So you rotate seats, and the relief pilot sits in the captain's chair while the captain takes a break, and first officer's chair while the first officer takes a break. The rest of the time, he's busy either sleeping, reading, getting coffee, heating your food for you, whatever. But this guy didn't want any input at all, even though he's a fully qualified type-rated pilot on that model and type of aircraft. And he made it clear. And in fact, what he would do is he would take out the laminated checklist and set it on the pedestal and turn it lengthwise towards himself, 90 degrees off from the relief pilot sitting in the middle jump seat. And he would say, when I want to hear from you, I will tell you. Unless, yeah. And if you want to tell me something, I want you to reach down and turn this checklist 90 degrees and wait for me to acknowledge, get to a break in my routine to acknowledge your presence, and I will then take input from you. And he did this regularly to a lot of pilots. And my friend who passed experienced it for the first time in Stansted, England one night, and basically said, there it is. Do you understand? Wow. But he goes, yeah, Scott goes, yeah, I understand. It's okay. So he turns around, he starts doing his thing back in building his captain's nest and getting ready. About 5 seconds later, Scott reaches down and turns the checklist 90 degrees. And so this guy goes kind of like, oh, that was fast. He kind of looks at him and goes, yeah, what is it? Scott goes, you're an asshole and I'm not flying with you. And he picked up his trash and started walking down the stairs of the airplane. Well, the airplane can't go anywhere without 3 pilots. He's like, no, wait, stop. Where are you going? And so he goes, I'm going back to the hotel. You can call the duty officer and get them to get you another pilot. Well, wow. He eventually talked Scott into coming back up the stairs, apologized profusely, and then continued his circus act with other guys. And word got around. And so a guy I want to try and get on the show in the near future was actually a Czech airman in our airline. And he was given the task of giving this pilot a no-notice check ride. And, of course, he was pulling his shit. What he would do is he'd go in, he'd look at the paperwork, he'd go out to the airplane and take a nap until the first officer came out, did his walk around, all by himself, didn't talk to him, did his walk around, would come upstairs, and then he's like, well, let's start the airplane and go. So no pre-brief, no, are you rested? How you feeling? What do you want? And, yeah.
That's shocking.
The Czech airman shows up, first officer's there, relief pilot's there, and he's like, where's so-and-so? He's probably out at the airplane asleep like he's been doing all month. Okay. Oh, thanks a lot. They get out to the airplane and he's like, oh, hey, Doug, what are you doing here? Yeah, he says, I'm taking the airplane to Stansted tonight. Just, what do you mean? Because, yeah, this is my flight. I'm taking the airplane to Stansted tonight. He goes, I'm pretty sure it's my trip. He goes, well, it was, but you failed your no-notice check ride for cockpit resource management. So I've already talked to the duty officer. You've been replaced. I'm taking the airplane, and we'll see you when I get back.
Yeah. And by the way, you're not getting paid for this.
No, didn't get paid.
Outstanding.
Yeah. And wound up getting 6 months in the right seat as a first officer as a punishment.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which, well, that hurts as a captain. My question was always, well, what am I being punished for then? If I'm a first officer and you've just put this guy on top of me seniority wise, why am I being punished? Because he acts badly. So,
right. So that your story triggered several things that I wanted to ask and talk about. But first, we got a question here from Dizman 723. You see that?
Yeah, Diz. Let's see.
If a pilot or first officer steps out of the cockpit, the single person put on an oxygen mask? ?
The answer is used to. Now.
Yeah. Used to, unless you're above a certain altitude.
Yeah.
Then you have to.
It used to be like 24,000 feet or 25,000 feet, something like that. And so at our cruise altitudes, we always had to do it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we had and no one ever did it at my airline for the longest time, unless it was a check ride.
Yeah.
And then there was a maintenance fed on board on the jump seat one day, and they were going up to Anchorage. Captain got up, went in the back. First officer didn't put on his oxygen mask. Fed was trying to be nice. He goes, "Aren't you forgetting something?" He goes, "Not that I know of." "What are you talking about?" He goes, "You need to be wearing an oxygen mask while the captain's off the flight deck." To which he responded, "We don't do that here at this airline."
Oh, geez.
Guess what? We all did it at that airline for a long time after that.
Yeah. Well, so to answer your question, I don't remember what year it changed. It was probably
14, 15.
I was going to say at least 7 or 8 years ago, at least, maybe longer. But we did have to, well, there was a requirement. If it was a 2-man cockpit and somebody got up to, use the head or whatever, got out of the control seat, the other pilot was required to put on the oxygen mask. And I think it was above 24,000 feet, which we were pretty much always above 24,000 feet. Well, it changed to now you don't have to do it unless you're above 43,
43. Okay.
41, 41 or 43. I think it's above 41.
We don't go.
Yeah.
Unless we have to.
Generally, the airliners don't go up that high now. Business jets do. They'll be up in the high 40s, mid 40s cruising. And so, but that's a requirement when you're above that altitude. I mean, your time of useful consciousness, if you had a rapid depressurization at altitudes up in that range, is seconds. Yeah. That's why the requirement is to have it on if you're the sole occupant at the control seats.
Yeah, because
that's a great
oxygen
question.
alone isn't enough. Physiologically speaking, you need pressure oxygen. Yeah. It needs to be getting pushed into your lungs to cause the oxygen molecule to transfer into your bloodstream.
And it does. Well, we have it. That's 100%, and you have it in emergency mode. It's forced. It's forced.
It's hard to breathe out. If you relax, you're breathing in. It's pretty cool.
Okay, so one of the things I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
So you referenced three pilot crew. Can you kind of talk about when it's a 3-pilot crew and what is the length of a flight before it has to be a 4-pilot crew?
Yeah. So roughly speaking, I want to say it's in the, Otto's here. Hey, Otto.
Happy New Year, Otto.
Yeah. Oh, and Silver Drill Pickle's here too. So Happy New Year, gents. So there's a number somewhere. It's like 7 hours and 35 minutes and 11 hours and 30 minutes or something like that. But the round numbers are this. 8 hours is how long you're allowed to sit in the seat. So if you're going to go over 8 hours, then you'll have a 3rd pilot. And if you're going to go over 12 hours, you're going to have a 4th pilot, allowing everybody to sit in their seat at their duty station for up to 8 hours on that flight. So let's say it's not 11:30, but exactly a 12-hour flight, you would have 3 pilots, and each pilot would spend 8 hours in the seat and 4 hours on break. And that's how they figure that out. And
there you go.
Of course, you can never sleep on break unless you're about to go back on duty, in which case you fall sound asleep, get down to stage 4, deep sleep.
If you know you're going to have the first break, you show up tired, right? And if you do, you show up tired, that's the quickest way to have a guy go, dude, I got to have the first break. Like, what? Wait.
So that reminds me of a story. We were going from the middle of the continent over to, I want to say, Narita. Yeah, it was the Narita out and back. So middle of the U.S. out to Japan, and then a layover, and then back. So the other crew, I was on the MD-11. The other crew was a Los Angeles-based crew, so we weren't with them all the time. I'd never met these guys before, but the captain did like he was supposed to do, and he wrote ahead of time, and he said, "We want to be fresh." Oh, and on the 777, when you go along like that, what we would do is have, you go back for 2 hours, come up for 2 hours, go back for 4 hours, come up for 4 hours, that sort of thing. Yeah. Not on the MD-11, man. They would go, we're going back for 6 hours, and then we're coming up for 6 hours. Well, this guy goes, well, I want to fly first, then sleep second, so that I get up an hour before landing and I'm rested and fresh and ready to go. And the first officer and I are going to do that. And you two relief pilots, me and another guy, were going to be relief pilots. We were Memphis based. And okay, good. Sounds good to go. Well, showtime comes and the other relief pilot is nowhere to be found. He's checked in on the computer. You can see he's checked in, but we don't know. He's not in the sleep room. He's not in the TV room. No one can find him.
Oh, boy.
And so, yeah. So finally, and I had flown with this guy once before. Real nice individual, F-14 pilot, but super shy, super quiet. And I mean, quiet to the point of painful. Until he got to know you, in which case he was real animated and told all kinds of great stories. But so he gets awakened and he's coming out and we're standing waiting for the crew bus and he's just standing there. He doesn't say to the captain, hey, I'm sorry, I overslept and, but just nothing. Just I barely acknowledges anybody else is there, just stands there, doesn't say anything to anybody, get out to the airplane. And as we're riding out, the first officer from Los Angeles goes to me, sleeping second is not going to work for me. I'm going to sleep first. And so, one of you two is going to have to go up and sit in the seat. And so I went to this other guy and said, how you feeling? You've been sleeping a while, clearly. And he goes, yeah, I'm well rested. I'm good to go. All right, great. I'm going to sleep first, as was the plan, and ask you to fly first. And
yeah.
And all good, right?
Problem solved. Problem solved.
Yeah. So the first officer from Los Angeles gets in the lower bunk. I get in the upper bunk. I have my crew meal, and now I'm tired and I'm full and I'm ready for some sleep, man. I am literally reaching for the light switch over my bunk when the door opens and the captain goes, "What are you doing?" Turning out the light. I'm going to sleep. I'm exhausted. He goes, "You need to get up in the cockpit. I'm not flying with that asshole."
Oh, shit.
What? He goes, "Yeah, I'm not flying with him." God. All right. So I get out of the cockpit. I get up. I'm sitting there, and now I'm just hanging on the straps. I'm drooling on myself. I'm like, I cannot stay awake to save my life.
I'm only laughing because
you've been there. You've been there. Right?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's just miserable. I mean, thank God the planes are so automated. Well, so I don't know. And I think I've told this part of the story before. We're up over Canada, pretty far north, and there's not a cloud in the sky except for a contrail of a 747 coming the other way. And he's 40 miles away. And Edmonton Center calls traffic, opposite direction, 1,000 feet high, 12 o'clock, 40 miles. And I go, in sight. Captain chewed my ass for 30 or 40 seconds. He's talking to me. He's not talking to you. You wait till I acknowledge the other airplane's in sight before. And I'm like, oh my God, am I a candid camera here?
What happened here?
Yeah.
What just happened?
Well, his name was appropriately Dick. And Dick was a dick. He was absolutely a grade A, class 1 penis erectus. He was horrible. And then we get to Narita, and he's like best buddies. Oh, where are we going for dinner tonight, boys?
Yeah.
Nowhere with you, man.
How about a big tall glass of fuck yourself? I'm not going anywhere with you.
Yeah. No kidding. So just a little bit of poor leadership can just ruin an entire trip.
There's another example of poor leadership. Yeah. And first of all, like this man said, who the fuck ever met a shy F-14 pilot?
Right?
Yeah. What's wrong with that guy?
Yeah.
Because that's the opposite of chemo.
Right. Well, he was very much like chemo. Once he got to know you, once he loosened up, he was loud and animated and all that stuff. But until he spent a couple hours around you, he was painfully quiet. It was horrible. It was really hard to deal with.
That's disappointing.
So, oh man,
very disappointing. Wow. Well, that's two good examples of what not to be.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. So, well, you know what? There's that actually makes a nice little bit of a transition, because there are some amazing courses at our next sponsor's place website, Masterclass, and they I'm grateful to them for continuing to sponsor, but I'd like you to take a listen to what they have to offer. And then we'll come back with some more.
At some point, I realized that scrolling endlessly through my phone wasn't making me smarter, calmer, or more interesting. It was just wasting a lot of my time while making my thumb stronger. That's when Masterclass quietly replaced a lot of my screen time. Instead of noise, I get focused time learning from people who actually know what they're doing, not influencers, not theory merchants, real instructors with real experience explaining how they think, work, and make decisions at the highest level. Now, one example that surprised me, as a hobbyist magician, I went through Penn and Teller's class on Masterclass, and it's exactly what you'd want. Not here's how to do a trick, but how master magicians think, why misdirection works, how timing matters, how storytelling sells the illusion. Even if you're not performing on a stage, it completely changes how you see the craft. That's kind of the magic of the platform. I've also used Masterclass to sharpen communication, storytelling, and creative thinking skills, pulling ideas from instructors like Michael Lewis and Amy Poehler. Different disciplines, same outcome. Better clarity, better structure, fewer words wasted, which frankly we could all use, right? With an annual membership, you get unlimited access to 200 plus classes across 13 categories taught by world-class instructors. Business, writing, creativity, creative writing, leadership, health, and more. The lessons are short and focused, so you can actually fit them into your life without blocking off a weekend or pretending you'll get to it later. You can listen in audio mode during a commute or a workout, download lessons for offline viewing while traveling, or watch on your phone, laptop, or TV. Masterclass goes where you go, and it doesn't ask for your full attention span all at once. And people actually use what they learn. 83% of members say they've applied something from Masterclass to their lives, and 3 out of 4 feel inspired every time they watch. That tracks. It's learning that sticks instead of evaporating. It also makes a genuinely good gift. Thoughtful, useful, and 0 batteries required. So, Masterclass always has great offers, sometimes as much as 50% off. Head over to masterclass.com/so-there-I-was for the current offer. That's up to 50% off at masterclass.com/so-there-I-was. masterclass.com/so-there-I-was. And thanks to Masterclass for sponsoring this episode.
Thanks, Masterclass.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of the professionals that are on Masterclass, how about any instances of quiet professionalism that you've noticed and taken lessons from? Did I stump you?
No.
Okay. Too many. Too many to think.
Well, there's humility is a superior leadership trait.
Yeah.
And I have been fortunate enough to have been exposed to some just excellent leaders. And to a person, they're quiet professionals, They don't do the things they do so that they get accolades. They do the things they do because it's the right thing to do. And our podcast has been full of these individuals.
Yeah, it has.
We've
been really blessed.
Holy shit. Right? These, how many times I can count, well, it takes 2 hands now to count people that we've interviewed on our podcast, told incredible stories, podcasts over, maybe even weeks later, I find out not only does this person have air medals, but Distinguished Flying Cross.
Yeah.
And was never mentioned, not even talked about.
Right.
And this is a recurring theme.
It is indeed. It really is.
It's something.
Well, yeah, it's those are the ones that kind of deserve it too. The ones that aren't going to brag about it. You got to wonder about the ones who want it. You know, they're the ones that are dangerous.
Yeah, and you kind of jog my memory here, but let's use Royce Williams, Captain Williams, as an example. I mean, holy shit, he went his entire career not saying a word.
And 30 years after his career.
Yeah. And then it comes out that, hey, yeah, not only did he shoot down all these MiGs, they were Russian MiGs, and Navy Cross immediately. Yep. And so I know when we interviewed him, the Congressional Medal of Honor was in the Senate. And then
Well, they were trying to get it into the Senate, and now it is. Okay. My understanding is it's in the Defense Reauthorization Bill. So if it passes as written, unless somebody goes in and strips it out, then Royce Williams, Captain Williams, is going to get his Blue Max, the Congressional Medal of Honor, as is well deserved. So,
yeah. Well, I hope so, because he basically did what Butch O'Hare did.
Yeah.
He was defending the fleet, and he was the only guy up there.
Absolutely. All alone. And I can't tell anyone. Hey,
yeah,
I'll tell you about the time I shot down 4 MiGs in a 1v6.
Oh, never mind.
So there I was. Yeah, right.
But
sure, Lieutenant.
What sticks to me in that conversation we had with him, which was it was surreal. I couldn't believe we were hearing it from him. But after we spent 30 minutes, great detail about the event where he shot down the MiGs, then we started talking about the rest of his career. And he was a CAG. I think he was the CAG on one of the ships in Vietnam, the Gulf of Tonkin. And he flew combat missions in both the A4 and the F4. Yeah. And then he told that story about being on fire in an F4 off the coast of Key West there, so nonchalantly and flippantly.
Just another Tuesday. I was on fire.
It's a Tuesday, and his Rio ejected, but he stayed with the airplane and brought it back, and that's how they fixed the problem that was causing them to lose F4s. They had an intact F4 to figure out what was going on. I don't remember the
source of the fire. Yeah.
Yes, but the way he told it was like, and this was after. I mean, it was like it's like he just
yeah.
What? You what? Uh-oh. You locked up on me, buddy. Or maybe I'm locked up. Time's still counting down. I'm here, I swear. Are you there?
So it was afterwards, and I think we even asked him, what was your favorite airplane to fly? Didn't he say the Phantom for fighting and the A4 for fun?
Yeah.
This is my rifle. This is my gun.
Yeah.
My rifle for fighting. My gun is for fun.
Yeah. Well, for fun, the A4. For fighting, the F4. It was like, I never flew the F4, but we flew the A4, and I could say, it was fun. No, rock on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we were seized up, but we're back now. So the good news is the audio people will never know the difference, because the way our audio works is it keeps it smooth even when the internet glitches on us.
Interwebs.
Any other quiet professional moments in your airline career?
Well, actually, this just popped into my head. I have previously flown with this gentleman probably, let's say, a dozen times. And on this one particular day, we're on a layover, and we're having lunch and a beer on the layover. And it's like we're in Fort Lauderdale or Miami. It's in the wintertime, so it's nice to be there. And over lunch, I'm telling him about this book I'm reading called The Ravens. Are you familiar?
I am not.
Okay, so the Ravens were an all-volunteer group of Air Force pilots that have already had one combat tour, and then they would volunteer to be a Raven, and these Ravens flew around Owen bird dogs at low level and found targets, AAA sites and stuff that weren't firing. So that and they would call in airstrikes, and it was usually along the Vietnam Laos border where the Ho Chi Minh Trail was. And so I'm telling him about this book that I'm reading, and he puts his beard down, looks at me, and he goes, "Well, I'm in that book." And I went, What? He never once said that he flew in Vietnam. He said, when we first met all those flights ago, that he flew A-10s. Well, he was one of the first A-10 guys, but he didn't tell me what he did before. And so sure as shit, I go and I look, and sure enough, he's in a couple of different chapters of this book. But over this lunch, tells me one story. And he says, well, this isn't in the book, but there was a I don't know, it's a C-123 or C-124. It was the two.
Yeah, it looked like a C-130, but it had two engines instead of four.
It had two engines, two propeller engines, and then two prop engines, and then two jet engines. Little jet engines. I can't think.
I'm thinking that was like the P2 or something. But
well, it crashed on this little airfield. Got all shot up, and it couldn't get off. And there was one guy that was a survivor, and he was right there in his Owen Bird Dog, and he had a backseater who was just a spotter, not a pilot. And he was going to land and pick up this pilot, just throw him on the lap of the guy in the rear, the guy that was still alive. And in the process of making all this happen, he took a disc round, it was like a 50 caliber type round, through the engine block, and his engine seized. And they came down hard, kind of near the airfield or on the edge of the airfield, and it broke his back. And the guy in the back seat had already gotten ventilated by one of these large caliber rounds. One went through the back seater, and one went through the engine block, and it missed the pilot. Well, and then he got picked up by a fellow Raven that came and got him all over a beer. He never once said, and so then I had to go read the rest of the book to read his parts.
Yeah.
But you talk about, these guys just didn't talk. He was quiet. And by the way, he was an excellent pilot. He was captain. He was an excellent captain. And, you coach the good things that you pick up from other leaders. So I try to poach as much from that guy as possible. But what a true gentleman, and what a humble leader, quiet professional, so to speak.
Yeah. No, wow, that's impressive. So, could it possibly be, while you were talking, I looked it up, could it have been a C-12 Huron?
I don't know. Let me look at it. Let me see what that looks like.
A military aircraft based on the Beechcraft King Air has two turboprops. Oh, not jets. No, that wouldn't be it then. No.
Let me do a little research.
I'm trying to think because there was like the P2 or whatever that had
C-123.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, well, maybe if someone listening knows, they could put it in there. But the C-123 was a Fairchild airplane, and I think it was designed to carry the Atlas missile. But I don't recall that it had jets. It just was a prop, a twin with big radio engines. But, we're, kind of vamping. A wild ass guess. So,
yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at a picture of a C-123, and it's got, I don't know if these are drop tanks or the little jet engines I was thinking of that are hanging outboard of the props.
Yeah. They do look like drop tanks, don't they? Fuel tanks.
But they're not very big.
No. Well, no telling, man. No telling.
Yeah, here it is. 1966 and 1969, 184 C-123Bs were converted to C-123s with the addition of two J-85 jet engines. These engines increased the C-123's payload weight by a third, shortening its takeoff distance, improved climb rate, and gave much greater margin of safety. So there you go.
Well,
it was the K version.
Okay. Keep hanging engines on that damn thing till it does what you need it to do. Yeah, hats off to the aircraft designers, man.
You got any silent professional?
But nowhere near as cool as that, man. Now I feel almost bad telling it, So
this guy's last name was Hightower, by the way.
Okay.
Hightower.
Nice.
Yeah.
So really, go look up the Ravens and read about Colonel Major Hightower. Yeah. So actually, the one book I still remember you turned me on to was Raid on the Sun.
Oh my God!
About how the Israelis attacked a nuclear plant in Iraq in 1981. So that was an impressive book. The French prostitutes died in the process of Mossad getting the information they needed to carry out that attack. Oh, it's a fascinating book.
It's a great read. I mean, it's one of those books. If you like that sort of thing, if you like it, it's hard to put down.
Yep. And
the writer puts you right there too. You feel like you're right there.
Yep. And one of the pilots in that Israeli strike was a gent by the name of Ilan Ramon, who died when Columbia broke up on reentry.
He was the junior pilot on the Raid.
Yep.
Years later, became an astronaut.
Yep.
And he lost his life breaking up on reentry.
Yep.
Over Texas.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'll tell you this. I was just trying to go back to the quiet professionalism theme. The thing that I regret most about the flight engineer seat going away is, as much as it sucked riding sideways in an airliner when I first started, it gave me a 2.5 to 3 years to sit there and go, oh, that's how you do it. And, that's how you exercise leadership and make good judgment. And then just about the flying, it's how you deal with all the people around you and the day in, day out decisions that have to be made.
Yep.
And I saw it one day. So in my airline, 60% of the pilots commute, and so they ride a jump seat to go to work. And for whatever reason, there's been tension between the ground folks and the pilots over the years. And every now and then, when a given station would get pissed off, they'd find a way to keep pilots from riding the jump seat. And, your airplane's too heavy. So they did that one night, and the captain goes, oh, how much are we over by? Ramp agent goes, oh, you're like 600 pounds over. So 2 of your jump seaters are going to have to go. They can't ride. Captain goes, all right, give me a minute. So he called up dispatch and he goes, I need you to make an adjustment on my flight plan, please. Yeah, Captain, what's up? He goes, I need you to up my taxi fuel by 600 pounds. Okay, sir. Gotcha. So he sent a new release to the station. The station had to bring out the paperwork, which now showed that they were going to take off 600 pounds lighter, even though there's no requirement to burn your taxi fuel before you push your throttles up for takeoff. The paperwork showed that they were going to be 600 pounds lighter, and therefore both jump seaters were allowed to go. And I went, that's how you take care of your fellow pilots. You don't let someone screw with them. So.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So I don't know. Did you ever plumb, or did you go right to the 7.3 when you got hired?
Well, I went right to the 7.3, not on purpose. Okay. I wanted a flight engineer seat on the 727 because that was the quickest way off reserve back then.
Oh, yeah.
And since I was going to commute, I wanted to get off reserve as fast as possible. Well, I was number 10 out of 20 in my class, seniority-wise. And back then, they didn't go by age.
They had nine flight engineer seats.
Yes. 9 flight. So when they got to me, all the flight engineer seats were gone because everybody was thinking the same thing. I'm like, shit. Yep. So the next most junior seat, other than the flight engineer seat, was the right seat of the 737-200. So that's what I took. And, here we are.
That airplane was a lot of work to fly, huh?
Oh my! Well, first of all, it was awesome because it was steam gauges, turbojet engines, and there was no glass, meaning steam gauges. You had to tune VORs and fly airways and the whole damn thing. It was a lot of work. And so when a couple of years later, when I went to the 737-300, 500 model, which was all glass and had the RNAV capability and all that, it was like, this is easy. What? This is nothing. This is boring. But yeah.
It's like cheating anymore, right? All you got to do is put your airplane on the Magenta line, put the thing on the thing, and fly it.
Put the thing on the thing. You just kind of manage the systems, and I try to hand fly as much as possible.
Yeah,
simply because it's a perishable skill. But
yes, it is.
There are peers of mine that are perfectly comfortable, turning the autopilot on right after takeoff and not disengaging the autopilot and the throttle until decision altitude, even on a cloudless day, which kills me.
Blows my mind. Yeah, to see you guys do that. We had a guy figure out one time that, our pilots were getting somewhere in the neighborhood of 35 minutes of stick time a year doing that shit.
That's probably being
generous.
Generous, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I've freaked out FOs by, coming through 18,000 feet, clicking it off and hand flying it. Although I do remember one morning going into Detroit, I did that. And it was cloudy. I was getting the snot beat out of me, and all the West Coast red-eye arrivals were coming in, and I'm just all over the place. And I finally went, oh, this is stupid. And I turned the autopilot back on. I went, there's a reason they put autopilots on big airplanes here. Yes. I was tired. I was not hacking it. And I just went, oh, there we go.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Hey, Happy New Year to the Flying Dutchman.
Indeed. Happy New Year to everybody. Happy New Year to all of you. We are thrilled you're here with us. We're coming up on almost our 4th anniversary in a few more months here.
Okay, is that possible?
I know, right? Right? So we need people to tell others about the show. Everybody has been so generous. They've cracked their wallets and given us money, and we're thrilled at that. And if you'd like to give us money, you can do that. The other thing you can do for us that doesn't cost you anything is to go forcibly hold down 3 or 4 people and make them listen to the show.
Just share the show.
Share the show. Yeah. It isn't that hard.
How about
what do you think, Fig? I think we ought to land this airplane. We're recording on New Year's Eve. It's time for us to start thinking about getting out of here and going and celebrating with our family. You got to go drive tomorrow.
I got to start packing. I know. Yeah. I got to haul a 10,000 pound trailer cross country tomorrow.
There you do. But I provided you with entertainment, right? Did you get that?
Yes. Yes, I did. Wait a minute.
So the book Top Gun.
Yes.
By Dan Pedersen, who is the Top Gun, considered the father of Top Gun. And
I'm going to be listening to that.
So far, what I've read, it is an amazing book. You're going to enjoy every page of it, every minute of it, I guarantee. And it's going to be exciting to hear Dan Pedersen in his own words. He just turned 90. And
is he narrating it?
He does not narrate the book. No.
Oh, okay.
But
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Fantastic book.
Well, it's been a great 2025, and
it has indeed.
I want to thank everybody that listens to our podcast and all of our guests, and of course,
And thank you, Fig. Thank you for doing this with me. I'm having a ball.
Thank you, buddy. Because you know what, left to my own devices, this never would have got off the ground.
Well, same.
It's
like I say, I did 4 of these shows back in 2009 and went, I don't like it. It's too low energy, but this works between the two of us and keeping it going. So
it's good. It's good.
But before we land the airplane, I want to make a couple other quick thank yous, mostly to say thank you to all the men and women on active duty who are putting themselves out on the front line, putting their backsides on the line for us and for our freedoms every day, and to all the veterans who did it, and to the first responders out there who are putting their lives on the line on a daily basis so that we all have better lives.
Hey, and just as importantly, their families, the ones holding down the home front, the ones that are missing birthdays with their loved one who's out doing that thing you just talked about.
Yeah.
Missing everyday moments, so they can do their job, and they couldn't do their job if it wasn't for you guys. So we want to acknowledge that and say thank you as well.
Indeed. Well said. Huge thanks to Dave Hamilton over at Well, he's given us all the knowledge and support and the steady hand to help us get this show out to you every single week. This show would not exist at all without Dave. So thank you, Dave, for your guidance and support.
It's pure fucking magic as far as I'm concerned, and I know there's a lot more to it than that. But you're the driving. You and Bago and Sticks are really the brains behind this whole operation.
And Sticks sit there and come up with information and photos and all that stuff before we ever even know we need them or want them.
So our bandwidth that we use is handled by Cashfly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
ChatGPT. What is this?
Ignore that.
Okay.
Ignore those links.
So Cashfly and the advertising support comes from Backbeat Media, which is Dave Hamilton. Absolutely critical to keeping the lights on, so to speak, for our podcast. So thanks a lot, gents.
Indeed. If you enjoy the show, we've already asked you to share it. But the other thing you could do for us that doesn't cost you anything is go over to sothereiwas.us/rate and give us a 5-star rating. It helps the algorithms that get the show to the top of the list. So we'd be deeply grateful if you could give us a 5-star rating.
And if you got an idea for a guest, story, or a way to make the show better, email us at RePete@sothereiwas.us or Fig@sothereiwas.us. We actually read them. And listen, if you want to send it to the brains of the operation, it's Sticks@sothereiwas.us or Bago@sothereiwas.us. And if you know somebody that's maybe a Vietnam veteran, Air Force, Marine, Navy pilot, helicopter, jet, we don't care. Everybody's got great stories. And
absolutely,
you know what? We need to get them. We need to get them out there before these guys can't tell their stories anymore. And real quick, we had a guest on. I'm not gonna say who it was. Very, very, very humbling, a very humble gentleman. He told some incredible stories that he had not talked about from flying in Vietnam, and later he told me in person that he sent when the podcast came out a couple weeks later, sent the link to his adult sons and said, some stories that you've never heard. And the feedback he got from his sons was, well, it was emotional. Let's
absolutely
that way, because he never talked about it. It's huge.
And you don't have to be a military pilot to get on. We had Dominique.
Oh my gosh, we've had some amazing civilian stories.
Right?
But the guy, I can't think of his name. The guy that flies Dominique crossed the North Atlantic in a Grumman. Was that Tiger?
Oh, that was Kath. I just went blank on her name. Kathleen.
I thought that was Dominique.
No, he's the Canadian bush pilot.
Oh shit!
Who fell through the ice?
Yes. Yeah. Well, then we have the guy that ferried airplanes all over the world.
Yep.
Oh my gosh,
that was Carrie the ferry pilot.
Oh my gosh!
And,
listen, that's right. We are military heavy, but it's not about that. It's about flying stories.
No, we've had First Sergeant Crouch. We've had trained the pilots, DI, Gunny Go. We've had some air traffic controllers. Got 2 more of them lined up soon, and they joined us for our hangout last week. So some great stuff there. But got a little bit sidetracked there. Let's finish up these thank yous. So the big thank yous to our Patreon supporters and direct donors. You're sacrificing hard-earned money and keeping this show going. Without your support, we simply wouldn't be able to keep this show going. It's a labor of love, but it takes more than love to get this show out to you every week. So thank you. We're humbled.
We are very humbled. We question your judgment.
Yeah,
but we are so humbled and grateful.
Like the Dos Gringos, you lack judgment.
We lack a lot of judgment.
Yeah. Well, we do for sure. But,
yes, we do. Let's see. Massive thanks. Well, Sticks and Bago. They're not here tonight because they're spending time with their families. God bless them. At least I hope they're with their families. I hope Sticks is with his family and not in the shallow end of the gene pool emergency room right now. But thanks to those gents who are always working in the background, making it look good and sound good, and they're very highly paid professionals not. But they are professionals. They do it out of love. They do it out of love for this project, ladies and gentlemen, and we really appreciate them.
We do indeed. And someone else who does it out of love is Badass over at bdsaviationphotography.com. He lets us use his amazing images. Badass, we're praying for you, brother. We hope your health challenges are quickly resolved, and many, many blessings in the year ahead. So, but thank you for all you do for us. We're deeply humbled by it.
Ditto. And then,
you know what?
The sound that we're not hearing.
You're about to be hearing. The
that
sound
I'm about to be
hearing.
is the sound of the 2 Air Force F-16 pilots that make that service sound good. That's the Dos Gringos.
Not one.
They've been on our show twice. They're great Americans. They've made great music. 4 albums. There's not a bad song. And if you're having a bad day, put on one of their songs. Put on one of their albums. You'll laugh.
Absolutely. So, all right. Hey, you can find the Dos Gringos on Amazon Music, Spotify, or wherever you listen to music. 4 albums. Go get some.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, until next time, which would be until next year.
Well, and yeah, unless you're listening to this on the 8th, which is when it comes out, then it'll be next week.
Next week.
Won't be quite another year. But until next time, stay safe.
And check 6.
Well, there I was, crossing the pond, and you could see that I wasn't exactly fond of all the shit I was wearing on that day. Now an F-16 is cramped enough, but it's even worse with all that stuff supposed to save your life. But we knew there was no way. 'Cause when you're going down the North Atlantic, man, it's over.
Well, what did he say?
He said it's over.
Okay, I didn't ask for your life story.
We're
out.